By the time Thanksgiving finally showed up on the calendar, my wife had already gone through 3 different mini meltdowns and 2 full dress rehearsals of a dinner nobody asked for. For the record, my name is Jason. I have a job, a spine, and a functioning brain. You wouldn't know that from the way Emma had been talking to me all month. Jason, can you please not breathe so loud around the pie dough? It stresses me out. That was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I opened the fridge. Big mistake. Why are you opening that? She snapped. Everything in there has a system. I was thinking of getting some milk, I said. You know that white liquid humans drink? She put her hands on her hips like a tiny, furious project manager. The milk is behind the cranberry sauce, to the left of the pie crusts. If you move anything, you put it back exactly where it was. I'm serious, Jason. I don't have the energy to fix your chaos too. She'd spent 3 weeks obsessing over the menu, the color of the napkins, the angle of the centerpiece, and whether the kids' drawings on the fridge looked too messy for guests. Our marriage? That could apparently wait until after dessert. Every time I tried to bring up anything real, I got shut down like I was suggesting we eat the guests instead of turkey. Emma, can we talk tonight? Just 10 minutes about us. Not now, she muttered, scrolling on her phone. I have to finish this table layout. After Thanksgiving, okay? It's right, oi. Forward not tolling more use. What can not oi fro? Yeah, but we said after last month. She didn't even look up. Jason, please, I'm begging you, I cannot do this and listen to you complain about feelings. You're going to ruin the whole vibe. Right. God forbid I disturb the sacred vibe. The night before Thanksgiving, she finally snapped, which, honestly, I thought had already happened, but apparently that was just the warm-up. I loaded the dishwasher. That's it. That was my crime. I put in a pan the wrong way. She yanked it out like I'd just thrown a live grenade in there. Why would you put it like this, she hissed. Do you even look? Or you just shove stuff in and hope I'll fix it later? It's a pan, Emma, not a bomb, I said. It's surviving. We're all surviving. Oh my God, you're so funny, she shot back. Maybe tomorrow you can do stand-up about how you don't know how a dishwasher works? I stared at her. It's Thanksgiving, not the Olympics. Nobody's judging the dishwasher loading event. You don't get it, she snapped. My parents are coming, my sister is coming, my friends are coming. I want it to look like we're normal. Cool, I said, so screaming at your husband over a baking sheet is a part of normal? She froze, eyes narrowing. For a second, I thought she'd apologize. Instead, she said, you know what? Just go. I'll do it myself, like I always do. I almost said something sharp, something that would have started the fight we'd been dodging for months. But our kids were in the next room, half watching a cartoon and half listening to the tension in the kitchen. So I took a breath, wiped my hands on a towel, and stepped back. Fine, I said quietly. You win the dishwasher war, congratulations. She muttered something under her breath about bare minimum, and if he disappeared for a day, nothing would change, but I let it go. I told myself I was choosing peace. Spoiler, I was just delaying the explosion. Thanksgiving Day arrived looking like a commercial. The house smelled like turkey and cinnamon. The table looked like she'd robbed a home decor catalog. Candles, matching plates, little handwritten place cards with curly letters. She even gave herself the best one. Emma, hostess with the mostest. I was Jason, no note, just my name, fitting. She was glowing when her parents arrived. Suddenly, all that tension from the last month evaporated like it had never existed. Hi, Mom. Oh my God, you look amazing, she sang, hugging her mother like she hadn't just called her emotionally exhausting 2 days ago. Dad, you're here? Jason, take their coats, please. Of course. I took coats. I took shoes. I took a step back and watched my wife turn into the perfect wife version of herself she reserved for public consumption. Isn't the table gorgeous? She asked her mom, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Jason helped, kind of. I mean, I had to fix most of it, but he tried. Her mom laughed. Oh, that's men. They try. I smiled politely and mentally put a little tally mark on an invisible scoreboard. Emma, 1, respect, 0. Her younger sister Chloe arrived next, smelling like expensive perfume and bad decisions. Behind her were 2 of Emma's friends, including the main act, Natalie, also known as the relationship expert. You know the type, no marriage, no kids, but endless advice for everyone else. She hugged Emma like they were in a reality show reunion. You look great, girl, Natalie said. See? I told you you just needed boundaries. Emma glanced at me when she heard that word, boundaries. Yeah, she'd been testing those out lately. Jason, Natalie beamed at me like we were buddies. You survived her Thanksgiving boot camp, I'm impressed. I've seen things, I said. Cranberry-related things you wouldn't understand. Everybody laughed. Emma rolled her eyes like I was some adorable idiot. Don't let him fool you, she said. He just complains and eats. That's his Thanksgiving job description. More polite laughing. Another tally mark. Kids ran around the living room, my son trying to sword fight with a decorative spoon, my daughter dragging a stuffed turkey by the leg like a tiny serial killer. I checked the time. I'd tried twice this week to schedule an actual talk with Emma. After the holiday, she'd said. At that point, after the holiday sounded a lot like never. I was carrying in a tray of drinks when it happened again. Jason, careful, she snapped. Don't spill, I swear if you stain this runner, I will lose it. I've been carrying liquid since I was 2, I said calmly. Pretty good track record so far. Yeah, but you weren't near my table runner then, she shot back. Her dad chuckled. She's been like this all week, he said. You're a patient man, Jason. I shrugged. I try not to argue with people holding carving knives. Everyone laughed again. Lighter this time. Emma smirked, but her jaw tightened for half a second before she reset her perfect hostess smile. We moved toward the dining room. The table was full. Food, glasses, decorations, expectations. Emma stood at the head like a general arranging troops. Okay, Mom and Dad here, Chloe there, Natalie next to me. She glanced at me. Jason, can you sit at the end, closer to the kitchen so you can grab stuff if we need it? Of course, the helper seat. Sure, I said. Put the staff near the supplies. Efficient. Chloe snorted. I like him today. Can we keep this version? Emma gave me a sharp look that said drop it, so I did. For now, we all sat down, plates were passed, jokes traded, the usual light small talk about work and the kids and how fast the year went. If you looked at us from the outside, you'd think, nice family, good dinner, nothing wrong. If you looked at me, really looked, you'd see a guy doing math in his head. How many little digs can one person throw before it stops being just jokes and starts being the truth? Chloe raised her glass. To the best cook in the family, she said. Emma, this all looks amazing. Everyone echoed the compliment. Emma smiled proudly, and then, as if on cue, used the spotlight like a weapon. Well, she said, someone has to make up for Jason not knowing the difference between a sauté pan and a baking dish. Hey, I know the difference, I said. One is the wrong one, according to you, every time. A couple people laughed. Emma shrugged like I just proved her point. That's why I tell him, she added, voice bright and playful. If he doesn't like it, the door is right there. She pointed toward the hallway. Everyone chuckled automatically. It sounded like laugh track noise. I smiled, but something in my chest went cold. I'd heard that line so many times it felt like our unofficial family motto. Don't like it? Door's right there. Don't like how I talk to you? Door's right there. Don't like how everything is on my terms? Door's right there. From the outside, it sounded like a joke. From the inside, it felt a lot like, I dare you to have a boundary. I took a sip of water instead of wine. I wanted my head clear. Natalie jumped in. Honestly, I love that for you, she told Emma. You're setting standards. Men need that. Yeah, Emma agreed, eyes on me. If I don't like something, I say it. If he doesn't like it, he can always leave. Right, Jason? She said it with a laugh. Everyone looked at me. I could have laughed it off. I'd done it before, but instead, I just held her gaze for a second, long enough for her to realize I wasn't amused. Good to know my options, I said lightly. Nice to be reminded. There was a tiny flicker in her eyes. Annoyance? Nerves? Hard to tell. Then she turned back to her plate and the conversation moved on. But in my head, one very simple thought settled in and refused to leave. You keep pointing at that door. One day I might actually use it. And that day might be sooner than you think. Dinner kept rolling like nothing happened. Turkey was getting carved. Stuffing was passed around. Kids were fighting over who got the good dinner roll even though they were literally identical. Everyone chatted. Everyone smiled. Except Emma, who kept giving me those tiny sideways glances, the ones that mean behave when guests are over. Which was funny, because I was the one behaving. She was the one throwing verbal darts like it was her new hobby. Her dad asked, So how's work been for you two this year? Before I could open my mouth, Emma jumped in. Oh, you know Jason, she said with a bright smile. He stresses more about parking than actual work. I stress about parking because your car takes up 2 spaces. I shot back. Every time you just grab something quickly, Costco suffers. Her sister Chloe burst out laughing, almost snorting into her wine. Emma's smile froze for half a second. Anyway, she said sharply, I'm talking about real stress, life stress, not whatever that was. Good to know my concerns are imaginary, I said. I'll let my boss know I'm a hallucination on the payroll. More laughter around the table. Emma didn't like being the punchline, not even for a second. She gave me the tight smile, the one with the warning behind it, but I let it go. The evening wasn't about winning, not yet. The conversation drifted to the kids, travel plans, seasonal allergies, all the standard holiday chatter. Then Chloe suddenly asked, "Hey, you two good? You've both been, I don't know, different this month." Before I could answer again, Emma stepped in. "Oh, we're fine," she said quickly. "He's just sensitive lately. Everything I say he takes personally." "That happens," Natalie chimed in. "Men get dramatic when they're overwhelmed." I raised a brow. "Right, because nothing screams overwhelmed like someone yelling about a dishwasher." Chloe spit-laughed. Emma kicked my leg under the table. I looked at her calmly. "If you kick me again, I'm going to narrate it out loud." She seemed to read that thought and stopped. Her dad cleared his throat. "Well, marriage has ups and downs. You two just need a little time to yourselves." Emma laughed. "Please, if Jason had it his way, he'd never talk about anything except what's for dinner." "I literally tried to talk this week," I said. "Twice." "Oh my God, Jason," she groaned. "Again with this? We had things to do. We were busy." "Yeah," I nodded. "You were busy rearranging pumpkins on the mantle for 45 minutes. "That's decor," she snapped. "It matters. To who? Martha Stewart? That's rude," she said. "No, Emma," I said, leaning back in my chair. "It's a question." A bead of silence fell. Chloe looked between us. Her dad coughed. Natalie sipped her wine like it was gossip-flavored. Emma crossed her arms. "You're making things awkward," she hissed quietly. I smiled. "Not yet." She opened her mouth to say something else when my daughter piped up with perfect comedic timing. "Mommy yelled at Daddy yesterday because the spoon was in the wrong drawer." The whole table froze. Emma's face turned the exact color of the cranberry sauce. "I did not yell," she snapped. "I just said, Chloe, that the spoon was ruining the flow of the kitchen." My daughter nodded vigorously. Emma glared at her like she'd betrayed national secrets. "Sweetie," Emma said through gritted teeth, "go play with your brother." "No, I want pie," my daughter insisted. "We haven't had dessert yet," Emma snapped. "Then why did you tell me not to ruin dessert yesterday?" my daughter asked innocently. I covered my mouth to hide the laugh. Chloe wasn't even trying, she was fully cracking up. Emma was boiling, and not in a festive holiday cinnamon way, more like a "this pan is about to explode" way. "Children exaggerate," she said stiffly. "Honestly," I said, leaning forward with a relaxed smile, "she's been incredibly accurate so far." More laughter around the table. Emma's jaw twitched so hard the vein on her temple made a surprise appearance. She recomposed herself, smoothing her hair, forcing a smile. "Anyway," she said loudly, "I'm just teasing him. Jason knows I love him. He knows I'm joking." I met her eyes. "Do I?" She blinked. The table went quiet again. She forced another laugh, the fake brittle kind. "Oh, please, if Jason didn't like it, he'd leave. I tell him all the time, if he doesn't like something, the door is right there." She pointed again, same direction, same phrase. Everyone chuckled lightly, and that was the moment, the exact moment when something clicked into place inside my head. I'd heard that line 1,000 times, but tonight, it didn't land the same way. Tonight, she didn't say it like a joke. She said it like a rule, like a line she lived by. I sat back in my chair and looked at her, really looked, and understood something with absolute clarity. She never thought I'd actually go. She never believed there'd be consequences. She thought she could say anything, do anything, push any button, because I'd always stay. That was her biggest mistake. I lifted my glass and set it down gently so the sound cut through the table chatter. "All right," I said lightly. "I think we're done with the door jokes." Everyone looked at me. Emma opened her mouth to reply, but she didn't know I was already done playing her game, and the next thing she said was going to end the entire night. Emma didn't appreciate my little announcement. Her smile tightened like someone had pulled invisible fishing wire around her cheeks. "Oh, come on, Jason," she said. "Don't be so serious. It's Thanksgiving. Can you not, I don't know, be dramatic?" I raised an eyebrow. "I'm dramatic? You've been organizing the cranberry sauce by emotional tone." Chloe snorted loudly. Natalie elbowed her. Emma glared at me, then at her sister, then back at me. "You're ruining the mood," she whispered. "Just let it go." "Funny," I said. "That's exactly what I tried to tell you yesterday, and the day before, and the week before." She stiffened. "Jason, stop." "Or what?" I asked quietly. Her eyes flickered, uncertain. She wasn't used to me pushing back in front of people. She was used to me being polite, being calm, being the guy who swallows things to keep the peace. But there's a special kind of peace that comes right before a storm. And she had no idea she was about to be hit with one. Her dad tried to diffuse the tension. Okay, let's not turn dinner into a debate. We're all here to enjoy. But Emma cut him off with a too loud, too bright laugh. Oh my God, everyone relax, she said. I'm just messing with him. Jason knows I'm joking. Right, Jason? I looked her straight in the eye. Do you ever wonder, I asked softly, why nobody else is laughing as hard as you? The entire table froze. She blinked fast, like she was recalibrating. What is that supposed to mean, she asked, defensively. It means, I said calmly, you might be the only one who thinks these jokes are funny. Silence. You could hear the turkey sweating. Emma's smile cracked, just a hair. Jason, she hissed, not now. I leaned back, shrugging. Not my rules. You brought it up. I was kidding, she snapped. Were you? Her eyes went hard. The temperature at the table dropped 5 degrees. She opened her mouth, but instead of walking it back like a normal person would, she stared at me with this cold, flat, stubborn expression, the one she used when she wanted to dominate the room. And then in a calm, icy voice right in front of everyone, she said, like I said, if you don't like something, the door is right there. She pointed again, crystal clear, slow, deliberate. And this time nobody laughed. Chloe's mouth fell open. Her dad blinked like he couldn't believe what he just heard. Natalie shifted in her chair, suddenly fascinated by her own nails. Me? I felt relieved. That's the funny part. I felt calm, clear-headed, almost peaceful, because in that moment, she didn't leave me any room to doubt. No more maybe she's just stressed. No more maybe she doesn't mean it. No more excuses. That line, that stupid line she'd thrown at me 100 times, finally revealed what she truly believed. She could talk to me any way she wanted. She could humiliate me whenever she pleased. She could chip away day after day, expecting me to stay no matter what. But people forget the simplest truth. If you push someone to the door long enough, eventually they'll walk through it. I set down my fork quietly. I pulled the napkin from my collar and placed it beside my plate. Everyone watched like I'd stood up with a weapon. Emma frowned. What are you doing? Following instructions, I said. Her eyes widened. I stood up, buttoned my shirt cuffs, and spoke to the table like it was a perfectly ordinary evening. Thank you all for coming, I said politely. Dinner was great, really. A stunned silence hung like a chandelier about to fall. I turned and walked toward the hallway. Behind me I heard chairs scrape, gasps. Then, Jason! Emma's voice shot up an octave. Jason, what are you doing? I didn't answer. I walked straight to the bedroom, opened the closet, pulled out a bag. Not rushed, not dramatic, methodical, quiet. I could hear muffled voices from the dining room. Chloe, Emma? What did you think would happen? Her dad. He warned you, honey. Natalie, just give him a minute. Emma stormed in behind me, frantic. Jason, stop. What is this? You said the door was there, I said calmly. You've said it for years. I'm finally listening. Her face contorted. No, God, Jason, that's not what I meant. It was a joke. Funny, I said, zipping the bag. I don't feel like laughing. I didn't mean it like that. You pointed right at it. I was frustrated. And I've been patient, I said, so here we are. She grabbed my arm. You're not seriously leaving. I looked at her hand, then at her. You told me to. Her voice cracked. Not like this. I stepped back from her grip. You can't spend years daring someone to go and then act shocked when they stand up. She stared at me like she was finally seeing something she'd been blind to. Fear. Not fear of losing control over dinner, fear of losing me. But I was already past the point of negotiation. I lifted the bag and walked toward the front door. She followed, stumbling over her words. Jason, please, just sit. Let's talk. Not in front of everyone, please. I opened the door. I turned back and looked at her, the woman who had spent years throwing the same line at me like it was her safety net. You said the door's right here, I said gently. I'm finally using it. And then I stepped outside into the cold air that felt more like freedom than anything inside that house ever had. The door closed behind me, and inside I heard nothing. No footsteps, no shouting, just silence. The kind of silence that comes when the game is finally over. The cold air outside felt so clean it was almost insulting. Like, really? All I had to do was step out the door to breathe properly again? I should have done this months ago. I walked to my car, tossed the bag into the back seat, and sat there for a second with my hands on the steering wheel. My phone buzzed, then buzzed again, then again. Emma, Jason, where are you going? Come back right now. Everyone is confused. You're embarrassing me. That one made me laugh out loud. Embarrassing her. Because of course in Emma land everything was about how things looked. I typed back. You pointed at the door. I followed directions. Isn't that your thing? I didn't even wait for her reply. I started the car and drove off. Not fast, not dramatic, just steady, like I'd been planning to drive this exact route for a long time. I went to my buddy Mark's place. He's the kind of friend who keeps beer cold, advice simple, and judgment low. Perfect combination. He opened the door, still wearing pajama pants and holding a controller. Dude, he said, why do you look like a man who finally read the warranty on his marriage and realized it expired in 2019? Pretty close, I said, lifting my bag. Can I crash here? He stepped aside instantly. Welcome to Casa de Divorce Light. I walked in, dropped the bag on the couch, and finally exhaled. You want a beer? He asked. Absolutely. He handed me one and flopped onto the couch. Okay, start talking, and don't leave out the part where you looked awesome. I took a sip. Well, she told me the door was there, I said, so I used it. He blinked. No way. Oh yes way. He stared at me for a moment, then burst out laughing. Dude, Thanksgiving? You left on Thanksgiving? She shouldn't have scheduled the meltdown on a federal holiday. He slapped his knee. I can't believe you finally did it. Believe it, I said. I walked out. My phone buzzed again. Emma, you made your point. Come back. I put the phone face down on the table. Mark glanced at it. Want me to throw that into a blender for moral support? Tempting. Another buzz. Emma? I'm not joking, Jason. This is not funny. You're ruining the holiday. We have children here, I typed back. I didn't ruin anything. I left quietly, remember? 30 seconds later, Emma, come back home now. Mark whistled. She sounds fun. That's her sweet voice, I said. This is still warm-up mode. He leaned back. So what's the plan? You staying here for the night? I nodded. If you don't mind? Dude, please. The guest room is clean. Well, clean-ish. Just don't look under the bed. I smirked. Thanks. I moved my stuff into the spare room, then came back to the living room. Mark unpaused his game. You want to talk about it? He asked. Not really, I said. I think I've done all the talking I need to. Now it's her turn. He raised his beer to finally growing a pair. I clinked mine against his to using the door. My phone buzzed once more. Emma, the kids want to say goodnight. Okay, that one hit. But then I remembered the scene at the table, and the dishwasher fight, and the you're ruining the vibe, and the constant just go if you don't like it attitude she wore like perfume. I typed back, tell them goodnight, I'll see them tomorrow. For a second I felt a microscopic pang of guilt. Then Mark suddenly yelled, dude, look out for the grenade. Oh, never mind, you're not even playing, and the moment passed. I slept surprisingly well, like shockingly well. It's amazing how much easier sleep comes when you're not bracing for someone to criticize your breathing cadence. The next morning, my phone was flooded with messages. Emma, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Well, I didn't say it like that. Okay, but you walking out was extremely immature. Can we talk like adults? You blindsided me last night? I need to explain. Jason, answer me. This isn't fair. I didn't do anything. Hello? I scrolled through them while Mark buttered toast with the energy of a man on vacation. Looks like someone's in the bargaining stage, he said. Yup. You gonna reply? Eventually, I said, sipping coffee. I'm enjoying the peace, he smirked. So what's your next move? I want her to think, I said. Not react. Think. Dangerous request, he muttered. Thinking hasn't been her strong suit lately. I checked the time. The house would be quieter now. Less chaos. Less theatrics. I typed back a single line. We'll talk later. Not now. A minute passed. Then Emma. Okay. Just tell me when, please. I put the phone down. Mark whistled softly. Wow. Look at you. Calm, collected. Cold-blooded. New holiday tradition, I said. No yelling. He raised his mug. Here's to Thanksgiving, and to finally liking yourself again. I clinked my mug against his, and for the first time in a very long time, I actually felt like myself again. By early afternoon, Emma switched from panic texting to PR damage control, which was honestly impressive. Her mom called me first. Jason, sweetheart, could you please come home and talk to Emma? She's very upset. I sighed. Yeah, well, she had a part in that. A pause. Then a quiet, honest reply. She did. We all saw it. I appreciated that more than she knew. 2 minutes later, Chloe texted, "Bro, wow, wow, I didn't think you'd actually leave. Proud of you. But also, holy shit, do you need anything? Food? A shovel? A lawyer?" I smiled. Then Emma's dad called. "Jason, I'm not taking sides," he said. Translation, he absolutely was. "But she crossed a line. You don't deserve to be spoken to like that." "Thank you," I said simply. He exhaled. "Are you going to talk to her today?" "Yeah," I said. "Later." "Good. She needs to understand." He didn't say come back. He didn't say she didn't mean it. He didn't defend her at all. That told me everything. By evening, Emma finally texted, "Can we talk? I'm home, alone." I typed back, "I'll come by. Be ready to talk calmly. No dramatics." "Okay," she replied. I grabbed my keys. Mark yelled from the couch, "Give 'em hell, King." Then added, but like politely. I drove back to the house, the same house where she'd humiliated me 12 hours earlier, and rang the doorbell. Emma opened the door immediately, eyes swollen, hair messy, still wearing yesterday's sweater like she'd been hugging herself for warmth. She stepped aside. I walked in. We stood in the living room, where last night's laughter had turned into last night's horror. She took a shaky breath. "Jason, I'm sorry." I nodded. "Okay." She blinked. "Okay, that's it?" "No," I said. "There's more. Say what you need to say." She swallowed hard. Words trembled out of her. "I didn't mean that. I didn't mean the door thing. I was angry and nervous and embarrassed. Everyone was looking at me. I didn't expect you to take you seriously." I finished. She winced. "Yes, no, I don't know." I sat down. She sat across from me. "Emma," I said, calm and even, "you've been saying that line for years. I know, and you never once thought I'd take it literally." She nodded silently. "You said it so casually, like it was nothing. Like pushing me away was safe because you thought I would stay anyway." She started crying again. "I didn't think you would leave. Not really." "That's the problem," I said. She looked up at me, eyes raw, vulnerable, terrified. "Do you want to leave?" she whispered. "Like permanently?" I looked at her for a long time. "No," I said honestly. "I don't want a divorce today, or tomorrow. I still love you." I didn't walk away from the marriage. I walked away from the disrespect. She covered her mouth as more tears spilled. "But Emma, I won't live like that anymore. Not one more holiday. Not one more joke. Not one more doors right there." She nodded like her neck suddenly weighed 10 pounds. "I know," she whispered. "I know. I'm sorry. I really am. I thought I was being funny." "You weren't," I said. "You've been chipping away at me for years and calling it humor." But it wasn't humor. It was cruelty dressed as sarcasm. She wiped her face. For once, she wasn't defensive. She wasn't justifying. She wasn't blaming. She was just quiet. "Jason, I will fix this," she said. "I'll go to therapy. I'll stop those jokes. I'll stop treating you like you're wrong all the time. I'll change. Please, just please don't give up on me." I took a deep breath. "I'm not giving up," I said. "I'm setting a standard. Starting now?" She nodded. "Okay." I stood up. "I'm staying at Mark's for a few days, not because I want distance from you, but because I want us to start this the right way, with clarity, not panic." She nodded again, quiet, almost relieved, like she finally saw the line she'd crossed. As I headed for the door, she whispered, "Jason, thank you for not yelling." I turned back. "That's not who I am," I said. She covered her face with her hands. I walked out, not slamming the door, not making a point, just leaving peacefully. For the first time in years, she understood what it felt like when the door actually closed. A year later, things looked different. Not perfect, not magically fixed, but real. Emma and I never got divorced. Instead, we did something harder. We stopped pretending, we stopped tolerating, and we actually worked on it. After that Thanksgiving blow-up, I stayed with Mark for almost a week. Not to punish her, but to reset myself, to breathe, to let her feel the silence she'd been daring me into for years. And it worked. She went to therapy. She apologized, not dramatically, not for show, but genuinely. She stopped weaponizing jokes, stopped talking down to me, stopped using the door line completely, like it never existed. And I changed too. I stopped letting things slide, stopped swallowing disrespect, stopped playing the peacekeeper. started speaking up early instead of exploding late. We didn't rebuild the marriage in a day, but we rebuilt it, piece by piece, boundary by boundary, conversation by conversation. 1 year later, we hosted Thanksgiving together in our home again. We were together by choice, not habit. The kids ran around laughing, guests arrived, the table was a mess. Nobody cared. Halfway through the evening, Emma came up to me quietly and said, "Thank you for not giving up on us. And thank you for leaving that night. I needed to see what I was doing." I nodded. I needed to see it too. She squeezed my hand, not possessively, not performatively, just with warmth, real warmth. And for the first time in a long time, Thanksgiving didn't feel like a performance, it felt like home. Not perfect, not shiny, not curated for guests, just home. And that's when I realized something simple. I didn't lose my marriage that night. I just stopped tolerating the version of it that needed to end. What we have now, it's new, better, and actually worth being thankful for. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.